What's good? This is Marcus the Fingaz back with another video. In this video, I'm going to go over some hip-hop piano ideas, 4 piano techniques that you can use in your hip-hop productions. Again, this is accompanying a guide that I have. If you go to thefingaz.com/hip hop piano guide, you can access the guide, and I'm going to be following along with it here on my iPad so that I make sure I'm telling you the right things. I'm basically going to read it and actually show you the physical techniques that you can use on the piano. But first, I wanted to thank you for downloading the guide and checking out this video. I can't wait to show you these 4 piano techniques that can elevate your hip-hop beats. Before we dive in, it's important to note that even if you're not a piano player, you can look up these techniques online to get going in the right direction. If you just invest 10-15 minutes, if you have more time, that's great. But if you just invest a few minutes on these techniques, you can enhance your beats and you can also feel better and more accomplished. These 4 techniques are more tools you can add to your music production toolbox. And keep in mind as you go through this guide that make some time to research them, make them part of your production workflow. If you come across a word or concept that's not familiar, go to Google, go to YouTube, look them up, look up some videos on how you can use those concepts more in your productions. So here's the video. We're going to get started. Piano technique number 1 is to use minor keys. For those that don't know, the Western music is made up of major and minor scales. There are 12 major keys, 12 minor keys. Most hip-hop music is created using minor keys. So for my example, I'm going to show you the key of A minor. So if you're looking at A minor, you are using all the white keys starting on A. So the musical alphabet, and I won't get too much into theory, you can look up music theory, some things on YouTube and online. But that note right there is A. Same with down here. That's A, and that's A. And the A scale is just all white keys up to the next A. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So anything you want to play in A minor, you can use those white keys, and you can try to come up with a melody using just those white keys so that you can choose random notes, patterns, rhythms to be the foundation of your hip-hop beat. So let's say I wanted to just make up a melody right now. I could do something like this. Just like that, you have the basis for a beat or production that you want to work on. But just choose random keys, jumping over a few notes every once in a while to sort of build those melodies. That sounds kind of like epic and really something that could work great. So for any minor key, once you know the notes of those scales, you can start to build these melodies using piano or really any other sounds you have in your music production toolbox. So that's technique number 1, using minor keys, because most of hip-hop music is made out of minor keys. Piano technique number 2 is using chords. Now, chords are notes that are played together or separately, and each note is a third away from the note before and the note after it. So chords have a minimum of 3 notes, but it can go up to 10 and really sometimes a lot more notes. But of the 3 main types of chords, you have major chords, minor chords, and diminished chords. For our example, we will focus on the chords that are used in the minor scale, not necessarily all minor chords, but the chords that are used in the minor scale. So for A, we'll start with the 1 chord, and you have Roman numerals that indicate the scale tone of the scale. So if you say 1 in A minor, that means you're dealing with the A chord. So the chord 1 in A minor would be A, C, E, which is an A minor chord. Chord 2 would be B, D, F, which is a B diminished chord. Chord 3 would be a C major chord, which is also the relative major to A minor. Chord 4 would be a D minor chord. Chord 5 would be an E minor chord. But usually you would sharp that 3rd note so that you can have a E major chord, which leads nicely into that A minor chord. You usually have a 5-to-1 chord progression. Chord 6 will be an F major chord, and then chord 7 will be a G major chord, or you could sharp the G and have a G sharp diminished chord. So those are the chords in a minor scale. So when you get a chance, look up chords, chord progressions, which is a series of chords, sevenths and ninths chords, which are like jazz type chords. Look up chord inversion, which is playing the chord in a different order. All of these chord techniques can help add variation to your hip hop beats. So let's say you want to come up with a chord progression in A minor, we can do something like this. And if you don't play them all together, you can do a little like melody, separating the chords, doing something like this. So you can really come up with some interesting ideas based around chords. Piano technique number 3 is all about arpeggios. Now, arpeggios are like broken chords. A lot of hip hop beats use arpeggios as the foundation of the beat. Arpeggios are chords that are played in succession, one after the other, and usually spanning across a few octaves and inversions. Arpeggios can go up and down. So here is an A minor arpeggio, which would be as follows. Basically, I just played one chord, which is A minor, but I played it in different inversions. So I have A, C, E, I have C, E, A, E, A, C, and then the same thing an octave higher. And you can build around that. Repeat up as desired and reverse the note patterns coming back down. The great thing about arpeggios is that there are a lot of great plugins that automatically create an arpeggio for you. There's a great plugin in Logic that I'm using here that has an arpeggiator. Most arpeggio apps or plugins, also called arpeggiators, allow you to hold down a note or chord. Alright, so what I'm going to show you here is an arpeggiator that is built into Logic Pro, which is the DAW I'm using. It comes, you can get it on Macs. I believe GarageBand may also have an arpeggiator, but definitely look for that. There might be free plugins out there. Look up arpeggiators on Google or arpeggiator, VST, whatever the case is. But in Logic, I'm going to click the information icon here. I'm going to go to MIDI effects, and we're going to go to arpeggiator, which is the first option here. We select that, and you can basically create an arpeggiator, arpeggio. I play a note. If I play a chord, and it's automatically arpeggiating that note. Definitely do a YouTube video. Look for YouTube videos on the arpeggiator function in Logic Pro. You have these options where you can go down, you can go up and down. You have this option here. You have this option here. Random. So you have all these options. You can go through variations. You can go through octave ranges. And then if you add more notes, and you can just build something around that. So arpeggiators, plugins really make it really easy for you to make melodies, come up with ideas for your beats. You can use piano sound if you want, but you can really go to like any other sound. If you have other plugins, you can go to like bell sounds, strings, whatever the case is. Just hold down some notes, find a decent chord to play, hold down that chord with an arpeggiator plugin, and see what happens. For example, here's just an A minor chord. I changed the chord right there. So definitely use that to your advantage. Arpeggiators. The final technique I'm going to share with you are called octave notes. So an octave is basically notes that are the same but played in different sections of the piano or the keyboard. So you can pick a note on the piano, for example, C1. Let me turn off the arpeggiator. You can play, for example, C1 right there. And you see these notes, these octave registers, C1. That means everything from here to the right all the way up to the C2 note are labeled 1. So this would be D1, this would be E flat 1 or D sharp 1. I won't get too much into theory. Definitely look up octave registers. But you can pick a note such as C1, and you can choose another note such as C3. That was C4. And those are octave notes. Those are octaves, so you can do arpeggio in an octave like this. That is an arpeggio and an octave, so you can blend a lot of to to really add some weight. So usually a cheat code for octave notes is you can play a melody using one sound in a different octave. So let's say you have like a flute or string up top, you can do something like this. And then you can bring in like a low string or some type of low note or even low piano. And see how that adds a different variation to the song. Even though it's playing the exact same notes, it's just a different octave or register. Definitely look up octave, look up register, look up octave registers. Sometimes they're blended together. In hip hop, one cheat code is to play or program, your MIDI notes so that the low note octaves on the piano add some bottom end to your beat. So let's say I'm playing, I have a beat going and I'm playing something that's like this. In the bass, you can actually have like low end octaves to add some weight to it. So it can be something like this. Or you can add some stuff in the high end to add some like ear candy. So it can be like this. And also you can play the octaves together. So it can be like this. Or you can separate them so it's almost like an arpeggio. I'm just playing them in a pattern, the same notes in different octave registers, but in sort of like a pattern. So definitely check out some YouTube videos on octaves and octave registers. Hopefully all 4 of these piano techniques are something you can use in your productions. Minor keys, chords, chord progressions, chord inversions, arpeggios, and octaves, octave notes, octave registers. Thank you for reading the guide. Thank you for checking out this video. While these 4 techniques are basically an intro to the limitless possibilities of what you can do with piano and keyboard, hopefully these will open the door for you learning more about how you can use piano and hip-hop music in your productions, in your music productions, not just hip-hop, but pop music, R&B, whatever you're doing. Naturally, every possible piano technique for hip-hop music can't be covered in one PDF, can't be covered in this one short video I'll try to put together for you, but hopefully you can use these techniques as a starting point. Go back through the guide as you see fit, as needed, review these 4 concepts even further, break them down by day or week. So week 1, you can say, all right, this week I want to study arpeggios, or this week I want to study minor scales, and just focus on that for a week or a day or an hour, whatever the case is, whatever your schedule allows. If producing hip-hop music is your passion, learn as much as you can to make your beat stand out. Feel free to take these 4 techniques in this guide and remix them, flip them any way you want. Maybe you want to do a different type of unique arpeggio or a different type of chords. It seems like there are all kinds of chords out there that you can find and create. Find out what makes you and your productions unique. Thank you again for reading the guide. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a lot from this. For me, I look forward to providing you more value in the future. Until then, definitely go to my website, thefingaz.com. Sign up to my weekly newsletter if you haven't done so already. And until the next video, be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.